What's up guys, Keegan here with Jordan Distributors. Today we are going to be showing you step by step how to install our plug and play push to start conversion kit. I will have a list down below in the video description of the vehicles that this install guide applies to, as well as other information that you will need to reference during install. Without any further ado, let's get started. We are going to start by disconnecting the battery. From there we can move inside the car and remove the lower dash panel as well as the clamshell that surrounds the steering column. The ignition switch in these vehicles only has a single brown connector, with the exception of the Prelude. The Prelude has two brown connectors. In the Odyssey, Pilot, and MDX, it plugs into the backside of the under dash fuse box, shown here. And in the Accord, TL, CL, and Prelude, it plugs in to the front of the fuse box. Once you have this unplugged, you can unscrew the other side of the ignition switch from the key cylinder and remove it from the car. If you will be installing your start button in the factory keyhole, you will need to remove the key cylinder. The key cylinder is held in place with two screws located on the top. These are tamper-proof screws that have no screw head to be able to turn them, so you will need to use a chisel and hammer. Just give them a few light taps to get them to turn. Don't worry, they aren't held in place that tight, and this process is actually much easier than you may expect. If you will be installing your start button somewhere other than the factory keyhole, you can skip this step. With these components removed, we can begin the install of our kit. We will start by plugging in our plug and play push to start conversion kit harness. This harness uses the same factory connectors as the original ignition switch. All we need to do is plug in this harness to the same location where we removed the original. Next, we will need to connect the black wire to ground. Make sure you select a good ground location for the kit to function properly. Next, we need to attach the quick connector included with our kit to the brake switch. You will need to locate the brake switch connector in your vehicle. On the screen now is the brake pedal assembly removed from the vehicle so that it is easier to see. The brake switch is located here at the top. It is easiest to start at the brake pedal itself and follow it upward until you locate the brake switch. Your vehicle may have a slightly different shape or color connector than what is shown here. Please check the chart in the video description below to determine what color wire you will need to connect to in your vehicle. We are going to simply take this quick connector supplied with the kit and with a pair of needle nose pliers, clip it around this wire. All you will need to do is line it up and give it a gentle squeeze until it clicks into place. We can now plug the orange wire from the push to start kit into this connector. Now to install the antenna. The antenna wiring is quite long, which will allow you to mount it nearly anywhere that you would like. We chose to mount it here on the back side of this lower dash panel for easy access. However, if you would like to mount it somewhere else for added security, you most certainly can do so. Last but not least, we need to install the start button itself. This wire is also quite long, so if you would like to mount the start button somewhere other than the factory keyhole, you will have plenty of wire to be able to do so. This button is the same size as the factory keyhole and requires no cutting or drilling to be able to install it. One thing to note is the fact that these cars listed here come equipped with an immobilizer. If you would like to install your start button in the factory keyhole like we did in our shop vehicle, then you will need to address the immobilizer. Once you have removed the key cylinder, you will need to remove the key transponder from the end of the key cylinder by removing the Phillips head screws. You can then secure one of your factory keys to the immobilizer and keep it plugged into the car and secure it under the dash. However, if you would like to keep the factory immobilizer functional as well as the steering column lock, then you can install your start button somewhere else and skip this step. It is worth noting that if you remove the factory key cylinder to mount your start button in the factory keyhole, then you will lose the function of the steering wheel lock. It does look nice to mount your start button in the factory keyhole, but if you would like to mount it somewhere else so that you can keep the steering wheel lock, you most certainly can do so. For an example, we are going to show mounting the start button to this lower dash panel. You will need to take into consideration the clips that hold this panel in and make sure that you drill your hole low enough to avoid interfering with these. Simply mark the hole with a punch and then with a hole saw, drill the hole for your button. We have these properly sized hole saws available on our website if you would like to purchase one. Any household drill will work just fine. Then, attach your start button and reinstall the panel. The process for starting the vehicle will be as follows. Simply insert the key into the ignition and turn it one click to unlock the steering column. Then, put your foot on the brake and press the button once to start. If you choose to install your button this way, make sure that you do not, under any circumstances, remove the key from the ignition while driving. The steering column will relock. The only thing that we have left is to plug everything in to the push-to-start module, secure this box as well as all of the wiring neatly under the dash, and reinstall the clamshell and lower dash panel. The install is now complete. Go ahead and reconnect the vehicle battery. Now, all you need to do is swipe one of your keys over the antenna, put your foot on the brake, press the button, and the car will start right up.